Welcome everybody, my name is Michael and today we're discussing about why you shouldn't retire on cryptocurrency just yet. Why you shouldn't leave your job if you're making $30 a day from NFTs or DeFi or selling video games or flipping or whatever, even $100 a day, maybe $500 a day, but even that's a little bit low. Depending on where you live, of course. If you live in Africa or third world country, yeah, sure, go for it. But I want to discuss about this because I've been seeing a lot of these posts lately where people want to retire early. They're in their 20s. People want to live the crypto dream or live the YouTube dream or just have a nice financial independence retiring early. I wanted to make a video post about this because if you reach a certain point, this is a very viable solution. For 99% of people at this current moment, it's not. This is coming from someone who moved to a country where, yes, you could live for a couple $100s per month, very frugally, or live a pretty decent life for $1,000 per month. And for an average American, you start to wonder, hey, that's not that much money. I could probably do that. And that's what I did. And I moved over to Poland. And over the years, the first 2 years were fantastic. The last 2 years I was there weren't that great. Now, of course, I did have some debts and there were some other things, but that's cryptocurrency. So if we're talking about retiring off of crypto, living off of crypto, there's some risks. And the first 2 years were fantastic because I was able to make a full-time income and live off of my cryptocurrency and YouTube investments and income. And I was able to actually have a fantastic year where I was really living a good life and I had a lot of fun. Problem is, if I could go back, I'd get a normal job and I would do crypto as much as possible. That means for a year or two where I see things are going up really well, you know what I'd do? I'd work 50 to 100-hour work weeks because right now I'm working more than 50 hours per week, sometimes over 60 hours per week with everything included. Outside of work, I also do a little bit of Uber, DoorDash, YouTube. I understand now that, holy moly, okay, I'm able to make a couple grand from my job, anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000, maybe even $5,500, maybe even $6,000 if it's a really good month. If it's a bad week in sales, for example, I could do Uber, DoorDash that week to try and get up to a normal week. And if I really wanted to work hard, 70 hours per week or more, yes, I would be able to have a steady income above $6,000, maybe even $7,000 per month. Now with YouTube and with cryptocurrency, you don't have that stability. Now maybe I chose a job that doesn't really give you health benefits in general. For most jobs, yeah, you're going to get benefits, and especially in America, that's very important. But let's say you did move to that third world country or second world country. In many jobs, you still will get benefits or even free healthcare, free college, whatever it may be. This is pretty good. And especially in Europe, you've got amazing public transportation. So you don't really need a vehicle. And I lived without a vehicle. Even when I had money, I didn't purchase a vehicle. And I love cars, but public transportation was amazing. The first year, I absolutely loved riding the bus and the tram and the metro because the public transportation system in Europe is absolutely bonkers compared to Chicago or New York City's all right, but that's probably the only city where you've got decent public transportation. Even outside of the suburbs in Chicago, you got one bus every hour that's not going to go where you want it to go, and you're not going to get to the train. You still need to walk there, and maybe you might even need to Uber, and that's going to cost you a lot. It doesn't make sense. America's a car country. In America, you'd probably need a minimum, and remember, with inflation, this is going to change. And for example, you have a year like this or the past year where it was pretty crazy with COVID or whatever emergencies might happen. If there's a medical emergency, you're going to declare bankruptcy. You don't want that to happen. So you need at least $750,000, even better, over $1 million to live a decent life, as long as you've got most of that invested in stable investments, such as part of that is in a retirement fund, index funds, mutual funds. Part of that is normal index funds, mutual funds, but that you are able to cash out in case of an emergency. You will have an emergency fund. There is a possibility of you to still earn money away from the money that you're investing. So whether that's YouTube, whether that's another career that you're doing from your house, part-time, or just for fun that you're making money off of or flipping stuff. If any medical emergency happens, if you need a lawyer, if whatever may occur to your partner, to your family members, to friends, you will be actually able to help them instead of freaking out about your next meal. So it's best to have over $1 million if you're in America. Now, some people will say, hey, you are able to live off of less than $500,000 or maybe even $300,000 or $150,000 as long as that's invested and you're working part-time and whatever, but that's not the full experience, right? You don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck or having a really bad time. No, you could live like a king, most likely, with over $100,000 in certain second world countries. Even in Poland, though, it is recommended to have well over $250,000 because $250,000 in Poland times 4, $1 is more than 4 PLN. That's similar to $1 million in America. In other countries, maybe you could go a little bit lower. Like Ukraine, you could definitely probably do $150,000 or less. You purchase your own house, you have your own vehicle, everything's fine. Now, of course, gas prices are a little bit higher over there. But let's say with cryptocurrency and YouTube or blogging or whatever it is that you would be doing with cryptocurrency, you'd be doing it for fun. Now, you'd be making money as well off the side, but you'd be doing it for fun. And if anything happened, you know that most likely the skills that you've gained from working, you could always go back to work. The problem is, if you spend your whole time, you are 18, 19, 20 years old, you do what I did, and you just go straight full-time into cryptocurrency without having a backup plan, and you risk it all. See, one thing I could have done, since I did go full-time, is be a little bit more conscientious of what I was getting myself into and have a backup emergency fund at least. Maybe not an emergency job, since I was in a second world country. Wouldn't be making that much money if I got a job, and I did get actual jobs in Poland, and it wasn't great. So if I had a backup plan, I could have avoided all of these consequences that I suffered from for the past couple of years. It's not been a great time. But the number one thing is to have a job until your hobby, whether it's cryptocurrency or YouTube or whatever else, until you are able to make more in your bad months from your hobby than you do on a normal basis from your job. Because when you're working by yourself, you have no benefits. You have to pay for your benefits. You're basically a company owner. You're an entrepreneur. That's fantastic. You can make a lot more money. But the thing is, if you have a really bad month, you have to make sure that you're still able to pay the bills and still continue to invest, because you want to grow that nest egg, because due to inflation, 10, 15 years from now, or if there's any medical emergency or any emergency whatsoever, you can shrink that fund very quickly. And suddenly your expenses, if you continue the same level of spending that you're currently going through, you're going to burn through your money. And that's not a great experience, because you're going to have to start all over. That's what I had to do. Or you might even fall into debt, so you don't want that. So my dream in the future is, to go back full-time into cryptocurrency. I'd love to do that. And you're probably wondering, well, Mike, you have 1,600 subscribers on YouTube. How do you plan on doing that? I'll tell you what, I'll be working a normal job. And I'll be working a normal job, making $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 per month. Every single month, I will do whatever it takes. You got to be relentless until I have a hobby, this case being YouTube and cryptocurrency, that also will be making $5,000 or more. Now, if I were to move ever back to Europe, to Poland, to Ukraine, to a country that is a lot lower, maybe I wouldn't really need $5,000 per month, because that's kind of luxury standards, but maybe half of that. Maybe $2,500 per month, and I'm nowhere near that. I was there before. I was making thousands of dollars per month from crypto, from YouTube, even on a stable month, and on my best month, I earned $30,000 in a single month. That's pretty crazy for American standards. But just like in car sales or other sales gigs, and in cryptocurrency, I had a great month, and then I had a bad month, and you have to split the money that you make from your good months, good weeks, into the bad weeks, so it evens out throughout the year. I did not do that, and ultimately it ended in failure. Now, if I was working even a crappy Polish job, but full-time, or at least part-time, to be able to support some more bills, mix that with cryptocurrency, I'd be golden. So what is the best piece of advice that I'm able to give out in the future? If any youngsters are watching this and you'd like to go full-time, quit your job, have a great time in cryptocurrency, learn a lot of valuable skills about cryptocurrency, research cryptocurrency in your free time, but work as hard as you possibly can. Your 20s should be spent either studying at university, or if you decide to go work full-time, 40 plus hours, and actually hustle at it. Actually get good at your job, research your job, Get as many great references as possible. Have a fun time with your clients or whatever it is that you're working. Even if you're working retail, actually provide stellar customer service. That's what I strive for in car sales. I try and provide the best customer service possible, and I think I'm doing a pretty darn good job at that. Even though my sales skills are still, just like I am, a newbie with 6 months of experience, they are going to grow, but my customer service has been on par from the very first day, because I always strive to be the best. I have a bad day, I don't care. I put on a mask and I try and do the absolute best job I can. And that's the best piece of advice. Do a great job at your job, do a great job at your workplace, make money, save some money, and after you get home, research about cryptocurrency and also invest in cryptocurrency. If you don't have enough money to invest in crypto, invest your time, start a channel, start a website, start a blog, whatever it is. You're able to do this. Within a couple of years, maybe you're able to reduce the hours, go to a normal 40 hours or less, maybe 32 hours part-time, maybe 30, and then slowly get to FIRE, financial independence, retire early with cryptocurrency. Depending on where you live, yeah, you could even live in a trailer park, and who cares what other people think. Don't get distracted. You're in your 20s. Don't get kids. Maybe you could get married if you find the right partner, but don't go into, some crazy relationships that might destroy everything you're working for. Avoid crazy people. Avoid parties. That's my life right now. I just work. I come home. I research cryptocurrency. I look at crypto. I make videos. If I'm not tired, that's it. I also research about the car industry. And those are the two things that I'm most interested in right now. And of course, making money and saving money in personal finance. And that's pretty it. That's pretty much it. There's a lot of negatives to having tinnitus and hearing loss and being disabled, but if there's one optimistic thing I could talk about is the fact that, you know what, I won't ever go to parties. I don't go to restaurants. I don't go to bars. I don't waste my time. Yeah, it is kind of a miserable experience because it's always but I am focused on what I do for the most part. There's some pretty bad days, but for the most part, I have a goal. I know that for the next couple of years, I will be working until I have an emergency fund, until my credit is rebuilt and everything is fantastic. So that would also be for emergencies, or if I had an amazing investment opportunity that I would actually put money into that, save up money, have a retirement fund, and whether I decide to stay in America or not, I am planning to move to a cheaper state. The best thing you could do is slowly reduce your hours. Don't go fully into it. This is coming again from someone who, if I could go back, that's what I would do. I would still spend as much time as I did in cryptocurrency, because to be quite honest, were there days that I worked 12 hours? Yes. But a lot of days that I was working full-time in cryptocurrency, by full-time I mean I was able to support myself and live a good life, I wasn't working even 8 hours a day. I was working part-time. I was working a couple hours per day making YouTube videos, investing in crypto, and that's that. There were weeks where I spent a lot of time, and there were other weeks that I spent maybe an hour or two per day, and I definitely could have been working a lot more. The other end of the spectrum is, yeah, you could go full-time in cryptocurrency as long as you get lucky or you have some backup funds. You move to a cheap country, you learn a great skill like becoming a developer, and then you're able to pull yourself up by the bootstraps, but that's a lot riskier than just sticking with a job. Now, of course, if you're able to get a job that's somewhat related to cryptocurrency, that's even the best thing to do. But that's all I have to say. I just saw some posts and it made me kind of think about my life and what I would change in the past. And I don't want people to make the same mistakes that I did, because it sucks. Right? I had a great year or two, but who cares? Now I'm going to be suffering for a couple of years. And in a couple of years, it's going to be good again. But I just don't want you to waste a couple of years of your beautiful life. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. See you guys as always tomorrow. Bye.